this video we're going to be talking about the core for the manifold. Now, if you know anything about engines, manifolds are basically a tube to get the air from the filter box or a throttle body into the engine. So it needs to be hollow. So here's the manifold that I've done, and we're talking about the part that made this hollow, and that is called the core. This in turn also has some relevance to making the pattern itself. Everything's intertwined, but the core itself was probably the most technical thing that I had to do, and was definitely my biggest learning curve as far as this goes, not having much to do with cores before. So all in all, I forget how many times I actually rearranged and redesigned this. It must be 30-40 times that I've actually redone this. Absolutely lunacy. But as far as I'm concerned, it's all part and parcel of making the video, and I don't charge for that, and I couldn't charge for that because basically the amount of time I've spent making this has been hideous. But anyway, so on with the first part. Those of you who have been following me on Facebook would know I've already been doing a core box for a project for a mate of mine. It's part of an inlet manifold tract, and I've already 3D printed these up, split them in half by hand because at the time I couldn't work out how to split it in half in Fusion 360, and I've cast the cores up, but both the cores broke, mainly because this tube was too thin and flimsy really. There was no rigidity there. So this is the manifold, and this is what the core was for. When it's being cast up, it will create this hollow core within the casting. It extends either way because in the sand mould it will need support, so that's why the tubes look longer than the manifold. The pattern's pulled out okay, just slight pulling, which is easy, I can quite live with that, really not that much. However, my cores broke up, so that means I've got to back up and redo these. I think basically either I didn't mix it up properly, or just the fact that these moulds are just a bit too flimsy and they just end up cracking. So I think I'm going to have to redo them, so that's what I'm going to go and do now, because I can't do anything with them until they're ready. And this is the final version that I've come up with. It's two parts, and they fit together as one block, bolted together with two sets of bolts, and they go into a threaded housing. One there, one there. And it's far superior, a lot stronger. Well, very strong. There's no movement in it at all because it's just one big block. So I've got my mould for my core, and I've got a couple of bolts, so I'm simply going to bolt it together. I'm putting just a little bit of WD-40 on the threads just to ease it in the plastic. Right, there we have it. So let's get it mixed up. Okay, so I use a sodium silicate mix with the sand, Got the sand out. So the first thing I need to do is find out how much sand goes in the mould, which is simple enough. Turn it on, automatically zeros. And 73 grams. So that works out approximately 3 grams of sodium silicate. A little bit extra. Now, 3 grams is not going to be a lot. No, it's about 3 grams actually. Now you can set sodium silicate several ways. It sets basically with carbon dioxide, so you can just leave it long enough. You can warm it up, which helps as well, and you can add a chemical, and I've got some chemical here, but the temperature's quite low out here at the moment, so I'm really going to do the alternative version, and that's set it with carbon dioxide. I've got fire extinguishers, and I'm just going to put this in a bag, gently fill the bag up, or try and gently fill the bag up, and leave it in the bag for a while. So I've put the core in a bag, and I've tried to extrude as much. Right, so the mould's been sitting in for about an hour, and I'm just going to move it to the top. I don't think it's really going to make much difference. And press the air out through the mould itself. In fact, I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever. Right, take it apart. Failed.
well, I finally got my first core out without cracking it, and something I've learnt from this type of mould, because I've not used this type of 3D printed core before. This is my first 3D printed core, but it's made a bit too accurately. So what I've done is actually enlarged the holes these two bolts go through, so I can do it up, ram it all in, then slacken the bolts and just wiggle it around a little bit, pinch them back up, and now I'm just going to run the CO2 through, which I found is easy now, just to blast it straight. Well, I say blast, gently tickle. That's it, hard. Right, let's have another go, shall we? The problem is it's such a wiggly shape as well. But there you go. Core cord. Both the manifolds have failed. Well, they must have moved.
So after that, you could see that the core failed. Well, it failed in the fact that it clearly moved. You can see this here. I can get it lined up with the camera. There we are. Far thicker on this edge than this edge here. And the result was that, all in all, the Mark 1 core, even with the Mark 2 mould, was due to fail because the round part of the core sticking out here really was just insufficient grip to maintain what effectively is this overhang. In the next video, I'm going to cover the steps that I took to stop the core moving. Hopefully this has been of some use to somebody. You never know. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.